The vast emptiness of space stretched out before the Xarlaxian exploration vessel, Zor-7. Captain Senra stood on the bridge, her 4 eyes scanning the holographic displays surrounding her. The ship had been on its mission for over a standard galactic year, searching for new civilizations to study and potentially make contact with. "Captain, we're picking up signals from the 3rd planet in this system," reported Kelvin, the ship's sensor operator. His tentacles danced over the control panel as he spoke. Zenra turned her attention to the main view screen. A blue and green planet came into focus, surrounded by a thin atmosphere and a single natural satellite. "Interesting," she mused. "What can you tell me about it?" Kelvin's eyes blinked in rapid succession as he processed the incoming data. "The planet is teeming with life, Captain. We're detecting billions of life forms, including what appears to be the dominant species." Excitement rippled through the bridge crew. It had been decades since the Xarlaxians had encountered a new intelligent species. "Show me," Zenra commanded. The view screen shifted, zooming in on the planet's surface. Images of sprawling cities, vehicles moving on primitive roadways, and bipedal creatures going about their daily lives flashed before them. "They seem to be at a pre-spaceflight stage of development," observed Zeltor, the ship's xenobiologist. "Look at their transportation methods. They're still relying on combustion engines and have only achieved limited atmospheric flight." Zenra nodded, her crest changing color to indicate her curiosity. "What about their communications technology?" "Primitive, Captain," replied Kelvin. "They're using radio waves and have a rudimentary global information network. No signs of faster-than-light communication or even interplanetary transmissions." The captain took a moment to consider this information. The Xarlaxian exploration directive was clear. Contact with pre-spaceflight civilizations was strictly forbidden. They were to observe and study from afar, ensuring they did not interfere with the natural development of the species. "Very well," Zenra decided. "We'll establish a hidden observation post in this system. Zeltor, I want you to lead the research team. Study their biology, culture, and technological progress. Kelvin, make sure our cloaking systems are at maximum efficiency. We can't risk being detected." As the crew set about their tasks, Zenra couldn't help but feel a twinge of disappointment. She had hoped to make a grand first contact, to welcome a new species into the galactic community. Instead, they would watch and wait, potentially for centuries, until these beings achieved the technological level necessary for interstellar communication. Over the next few Earth weeks, the Xarlaxians observed the planet with growing fascination. They learned that the dominant species called themselves humans, and their planet Earth. The diversity of cultures, languages, and ecosystems on this single world amazed the alien researchers. "Captain, you need to see this," Zeltor called out one day, his voice filled with excitement. Zenra hurried to the research lab. "What have you found?" Zeltor pulled up a series of images on the lab's main screen. "We've been monitoring their global information network, and we've discovered something extraordinary. The humans are on the brink of several major technological breakthroughs." The screen showed schematics for more efficient energy production methods, early prototypes of fusion reactors, and plans for the colonization of their moon and neighboring planet. "They're advancing at an incredible rate," Zeltor explained. "At this pace, they could achieve spaceflight capability within a few decades, perhaps even sooner." Zenra's crest flickered with a mix of colors, reflecting her conflicting emotions. On one hand, this was exciting news. On the other, it meant their mission had become more complex. "We'll need to be even more cautious now," she said. "If they're advancing this quickly, the risk of them detecting us increases. Double our stealth protocols and increase the range of our observation perimeter." As she left the lab, Senra couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to these humans than met the eye. They had gone from primitive combustion engines to the cusp of fusion power in the blink of a cosmic eye. It was unprecedented in all of Xarlaxian records. Little did the aliens know, their assumptions about humanity's primitive nature were about to be challenged in a way they could never have imagined. The true nature of human civilization and its forgotten past was hidden, waiting to be rediscovered. And when it was, the galaxy would never be the same. 3 Earth months had passed since the Xarlaxians began their observation of the blue planet. Captain Senra stood in her private quarters, gazing out at the stars. Her mind was filled with thoughts of the humans and their rapidly advancing technology. A sudden chime broke her concentration. "Captain, to the bridge." Immediately, Kelvin's voice came through the ship's communication system. Zenra rushed to the bridge, her 6 legs carrying her swiftly through the corridors. As she entered, she sensed the tension in the air. "Report," she commanded, taking her place at the center of the bridge. Kelvin's tentacles were a blur over his control panel. "Captain, our deep space probes have detected an anomaly near the gas giant they call Jupiter." The main view screen lit up, showing a section of space near the massive planet. At first, Xenra saw nothing unusual. Then, as the image zoomed in, she gasped. A massive object was floating in space, its surface reflecting the distant sunlight. "What is that?" she asked, her 4 eyes widening in surprise. Zeltur, who had joined them on the bridge, spoke up. "It appears to be a ship, Captain, and a massive one at that. Our initial scan suggests it's at least 5 kilometers in length." Zenra's crest changed color rapidly, reflecting her shock and excitement. "A ship of that size. It can't be of human origin, can it?" "That's what's puzzling us, Captain," Kelvin replied. "The design doesn't match anything in our database, but it also doesn't seem to fit with the current level of human technology we've observed." The captain made a quick decision. "Set a course for the anomaly. Maximum stealth. We need to investigate this closer." As the Zor 7 approached the mysterious ship, the bridge crew watched in awe. The vessel was a marvel of engineering, its sleek design suggesting it was built for both speed and power. Strange symbols adorned its hull, unlike any language they had seen on Earth. "Can we get any readings from inside?" Senra asked. Kelvin worked his controls furiously. "It's difficult, Captain. The ship's hull is made of materials that resist our scans. But, wait, I'm detecting faint power signatures. The ship isn't completely dead." This news sent a ripple of excitement through the crew. Senra considered their options carefully. The Xarlaxian Exploration Directive had strict rules about interfering with other civilizations, but this ship was clearly not of current human make. Its presence here was a mystery that needed solving. "Zeltor, prepare an exploration team. We're going to board that ship," Senra announced. Hours later, Senra led a small team across the void between their ship and the mysterious vessel. As they approached, they saw an open airlock, as if the ship was inviting them in. Inside, the corridors were dark and silent. The Xarlaxians moved cautiously, their environmental suits protecting them from the cold vacuum. Their lights revealed an interior that was both alien and strangely familiar. "Captain, look at this," Zeltor called out. He was standing in front of a control panel, its surface covered in dust. As he wiped it clean, symbols became visible. Xenra leaned in for a closer look. Her eyes widened in disbelief. Those are human numbers and letters." The team exchanged shocked glances. How could a ship of this size and technological advancement be of human origin? It went against everything they had observed on Earth. As they delved deeper into the ship, they found more evidence that defied explanation. Advanced propulsion systems, weapons beyond anything they had seen before, and most surprisingly, cryogenic pods. Zeltor examined one of the pods closely. "Captain, there's someone inside this one." Xenra hurried over. Through the frosted glass of the pod, she could make out the figure of a human, perfectly preserved. This changes everything," she whispered. Just then, Kelvin's voice came through their communicators. "Captain, we've managed to access the ship's databanks. You won't believe what we found." Back on the Zor 7, the crew gathered around the main screen as Kelvin displayed the information they had retrieved. It was a historical record. detailing a part of human history that seemed impossible. According to the logs, humans had achieved interstellar travel centuries ago. They had built great ships like this one and explored the stars. But something had gone wrong. A great catastrophe had forced humanity to retreat, to hide their advancements, and regress to a simpler state. As the Tarlaxians absorbed this shocking information, they realized their mission had just become far more complex. The humans were not the primitive species they had thought. They were a sleeping giant with a forgotten legacy of cosmic exploration. Xenra looked at her crew, her crest a swirl of colors reflecting her mix of emotions. We need to report this to High Command immediately. The galaxy as we know it may never be the same. Captain Xenra stood motionless, her four eyes fixed on the holographic display before her. The Tarlaxian High Command had been in an uproar since receiving their report about the human starship. Now, after days of intense debate, they had finally reached a decision. Your orders are to continue your investigation, Captain. The stern voice of High Commander Xexlor echoed through the communication channel. Decode the ship's logs. We need to understand what happened to the humans and why they abandoned their spacefaring ways. Understood, High Commander, Xenra replied, her crest shifting to a determined blue. We'll begin immediately. As the communication ended, Xenra turned to her crew. Kelvin, Zeltor, you're with me. We're going back to that ship. Hours later, the three Xarlaxians found themselves once again in the control room of the massive human starship. Kelvin's tentacles danced over the ancient console, working to bypass the security protocols. I think I've got it, Captain, Kelvin announced, his voice tinged with excitement. The ship's logs are unlocking. The main screen flickered to life, and a human face appeared. The man looked tired, his eyes heavy with the weight of responsibility. This is Captain James Chen of the Earthship Horizon. The recording began. If you're watching this, it means our mission has failed, and humanity's greatest secret has been discovered. Xenra and her team listened intently as Captain Chen's story unfolded. The truth was more incredible than they could have imagined. Centuries ago, humanity had indeed achieved interstellar travel. They had built great ships like the Horizon and ventured out into the galaxy, establishing colonies on distant worlds. But their rapid expansion had caught the attention of a hostile alien race known as the Ravagers. The Ravagers were unlike anything we had ever encountered. Chen's hologram explained. They saw our expansion as a threat and launched a devastating attack on our colonies and Earth itself. The recording showed scenes of destruction. Human cities in ruins, great ships falling from the sky, and the desperate evacuation of Earth. We fought back with everything we had, Chen continued, his voice cracking with emotion. But the Ravagers were too powerful. We realized that our only hope for survival was to disappear. The plan, as Chen explained it, was both brilliant and heartbreaking. The remaining human leaders decided to erase all evidence of their advanced technology on Earth. They would regress their own civilization, hiding their true capabilities from the Ravagers and any other potential threats. We scattered our great ships across the galaxy, each carrying a small group of humans in stasis, along with the sum of our knowledge, Chen said. The hope was that one day, when the threat had passed, we could reclaim our legacy and return to the stars. Zelter's voice was barely a whisper as he spoke. So the humans we've been observing on Earth are the descendants of those who stayed behind. Xenra finished, her crest a swirl of colors reflecting her conflicting emotions. The final part of Chen's message was a warning. To whoever finds this ship, I beg you, do not wake us unless Earth is ready. The Ravagers may still be out there, waiting. Let humanity rediscover its path to the stars naturally. Only then will we be strong enough to face what lies beyond. As the message ended, silence fell over the control room. The Tarlaxians looked at each other, the weight of their discovery pressing down on them. What do we do now, Captain? Kelvin asked, his tentacles twitching nervously. Xenra took a deep breath, her mind racing with the implications of what they had learned. The humans were not the primitive species they had thought, but a sleeping giant with a painful past and potentially dangerous future. "We report everything to High Command," she said finally. "But we must be cautious. If we interfere too soon, we might doom the humans and ourselves." As they prepared to leave the horizon, Senra cast one last look at the cryogenic pods holding the sleeping humans. She couldn't help but wonder what other secrets this incredible species held, and what would happen when they finally awoke to reclaim their place among the stars. The galaxy, Senra realized, was about to become a much more complicated place. The Zor 7's meeting room was filled with tension. Captain Senra sat at the head of the table, her four eyes moving from one crew member to another. The discovery of humanity's true history had shaken them all, and now they faced a difficult decision. "We need to decide our next course of action," Senra began, her voice steady despite her inner turmoil. "What we do now could change the fate of not just humanity, but potentially the entire galaxy." Zeltor, the xenobiologist, spoke first. "We should wake them up," he said, his tentacles waving excitedly. "Think of all we could learn from them. Their technology, their history. Are you insane?" Kelvin interrupted, his usually calm demeanor shattered. "Did you not hear the warning? Waking them could bring the Ravagers down on all of us." The room erupted into heated debate. Some crew members sided with Zeltor, arguing that the potential benefits outweighed the risks. Others agreed with Kelvin, fearing the consequences of interfering with humanity's natural development. Senra listened to all sides, her crest changing colors rapidly as she processed the arguments. Finally, she raised a hand for silence. "We're forgetting something important," she said. "This isn't just about us. We need to consider what's best for the humans as well." She activated the room's holographic display, showing images of Earth. "Look at them. They're on the brink of rediscovering space travel. If we intervene now, we could be robbing them of their own journey of discovery." The crew fell silent, contemplating her words. Senra continued, "But if we do nothing, we're leaving them vulnerable. What if the Ravagers return before they're ready?" Just then, an urgent message came through from the bridge. "Captain, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from Earth." Senra and her team rushed to the bridge. On the main screen, they saw a flurry of activity around the planet. Satellites were being launched at an unprecedented rate, and strange energy readings were coming from several points on the surface. "What's happening?" Senra demanded. The sensor operator's tentacles flew over the controls. "It seems they're testing some kind of new propulsion system. Captain, it looks like they're preparing for their first interplanetary mission." The news sent shockwaves through the crew. Humanity was advancing faster than they had anticipated. The timeline for their decision had just shrunk dramatically. If they start exploring the solar system, they might find the horizon, Zeltor pointed out. "We need to do something before that happens." Senra's mind raced. They had three options: wake the sleeping humans and reveal everything, destroy the horizon to keep the secret safe, or find a way to hide the ship until humanity was ready. "Kelvin," she said suddenly, "is it possible to move the horizon without waking its crew?" Kelvin considered for a moment. "It would be challenging, but not impossible. We could use our tractor beams to guide it to a safer location." "Do it," Senra ordered. "Move the horizon to the outer reaches of this solar system, somewhere the humans won't find it for a while, but where it will be safe." As the crew set about their task, Senra sent a message to Xarlaxian High Command, explaining their plan. The response came swiftly. "Proceed with caution. Continue observation of Earth. Do not make contact unless absolutely necessary." Over the next few days, the Xarlaxians worked tirelessly to relocate the horizon. They watched with a mixture of anxiety and admiration as the humans launched their first mission to Mars, completely unaware of the ancient starship passing silently by. As the horizon settled into its new orbit far beyond Pluto, Senra stood on the bridge of the Zor 7, watching Earth on the viewscreen. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were balancing on the edge of a knife. One wrong move could change the course of history for both their species. "What now, Captain?" Zeltor asked, voicing the question on everyone's mind. Xenra's crest settled into a determined blue. "Now, we watch and wait. We'll be humanity's silent guardians until they're ready to join us among the stars. And when that day comes," she added, her eyes gleaming, "I hope we'll be there to welcome them to the galactic community." The crew nodded in agreement, each feeling the weight of their newfound responsibility. As they settled in for their extended mission, none of them could have predicted the incredible events that were about to unfold on the little blue planet they were watching so closely. 5 years had passed since the Tarlaxians had discovered the truth about humanity's past. Captain Senra stood on the observation deck of the Zor 7, her 4 eyes fixed on the blue planet below. In those 5 years, she had watched humanity take leaps and bounds in their technological advancement. "Captain, you need to see this." Kelvin's voice came through the ship's communication system, a hint of urgency in his tone. Xenra hurried to the bridge, her 6 legs carrying her swiftly through the corridors. As she entered, she saw her crew gathered around the main view screen, their expressions a mix of awe and concern. On the screen, a live feed from Earth showed a press conference. A human woman, identified as Dr. Emily Chen, stood at a podium, her face beaming with pride. "Ladies and gentlemen," Dr. Chen announced, "I am thrilled to reveal that we have successfully developed our first faster-than-light drive." The room erupted in gasps and murmurs. Senra felt her crest change colors rapidly, reflecting her shock. This was impossible. Humans shouldn't have been able to develop FTL technology so quickly. As if reading her thoughts, Zeltor spoke up. "Captain, this doesn't make sense. Even with their rapid advancement, they shouldn't have been able to achieve this for at least another century." Xenra nodded, her mind racing. Unless... She didn't need to finish the thought. They all knew what this meant. Somehow, the humans had rediscovered elements of their forgotten space technology. Over the next few weeks, the Tarlaxians watched in amazement as humanity's progress accelerated even further. New satellites were launched daily, each more advanced than the last. The Mars colony, which had been established just 2 years ago, was already talking about independence. But the most shocking development came when the humans announced their plans for an interstellar mission. "They're calling it Project Horizon," Kelvin reported, his tentacles twitching nervously as he read the intercepted communications. "They plan to send a ship to explore the nearest star system." Xenra felt a chill run through her body. The name couldn't be a coincidence. Somehow, the humans had remembered, or perhaps rediscovered, their true heritage. "Captain," one of the junior officers called out, "we're detecting unusual energy readings from Earth's moon." The main screen shifted to show the lunar surface. There, hidden in a crater that had been empty just days ago, was a massive construction site. As they watched, a shape began to emerge from the lunar dust, the unmistakable form of a starship. It's identical to the Horizon," Zeltor whispered in disbelief. Xenra made a quick decision. "Contact High Command immediately. We need new orders." The response from Sarlaxian High Command was swift and unexpected. "Maintain your position, Captain Senra. Do not interfere. We are sending a diplomatic team to make official first contact with the humans." The news sent shockwaves through the crew. After years of secret observation, they were finally going to reveal themselves to humanity. As they waited for the diplomatic team to arrive, Senra couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and apprehension. The humans had proven themselves to be far more resilient and adaptable than anyone had imagined. Their rapid reemergence as a spacefaring race was nothing short of miraculous. But questions remained. How had they rediscovered their lost technology so quickly? What did they remember of their past? And most importantly, what would they do when they learned the truth about their history and the threat that had forced them into hiding? As Earth's new starship rose from the lunar surface for its first test flight, Senra watched with a sense of awe. Despite all their caution and planning, The Sarlaxians found themselves witnesses to the rebirth of a potentially mighty spacefaring race. Prepare for contact protocols, Xenra ordered her crew. It seems the sleeping giant has awakened. Let's hope we're ready for what comes next. The crew sprang into action, readying the ship for the impending first contact. As they worked, Xenra couldn't shake the feeling that the galaxy was about to change forever. The humans were back, and the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath in anticipation of what was to come. The tension on the bridge of the Zor 7 was palpable. Captain Xenra stood tall, her four eyes fixed on the main view screen. The newly built human starship, gleaming in the sunlight, was approaching their position. "They've detected us," Captain Kelvin reported, his tentacles moving rapidly over the control panel. "They're hailing us." Xenra took a deep breath. This was the moment they had been preparing for, yet dreading, for years. "Open a channel," she ordered. The screen flickered to life, revealing the bridge of the human ship. A woman with short gray hair and piercing blue eyes stood at the center. Her uniform bore the insignia of Earth's newly formed Space Command. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth ship New Horizon." The woman spoke, her voice firm and confident. "You are in Earth-controlled space. Identify yourselves immediately." Xenra stepped forward, her crest shifting to a calm blue. "I am Captain Xenra of the Sarlaxian exploration vessel Zor 7. We come in peace, Admiral Chen." The Admiral's eyes widened slightly at the sight of the alien, but she quickly regained her composure. "Captain Xenra, your presence here is unexpected. We were unaware of any other spacefaring races in our vicinity. We have been observing your planet for some time, Admiral," Xenra explained carefully. "We've watched your remarkable progress with great interest." Admiral Chen's expression hardened. "Observing us? For how long? And why reveal yourselves now?" Before Xenra could respond, another voice cut in from off-screen. "Because they know about the horizon, Sarah." An elderly man stepped into view, leaning heavily on a cane. Despite his age, his eyes were sharp and full of wisdom. Xenra felt a jolt of recognition. It was the face from the old Starship's logs, albeit much older now. "Captain James Chen," Xenra breathed, her crest flickering in surprise. The old man smiled wryly. "So you do know about us? I wondered how long it would take for someone to find one of our ships." Admiral Chen looked between the alien captain and her father, confusion evident on her face. "Dad, what are you talking about? What's going on?" James Chen sighed heavily. "It's time you knew the truth, Sarah. About our past, about why we hid, and about the legacy we left scattered among the stars." Over the next hour, James Chen revealed humanity's hidden history to his daughter and the crew of the New Horizon. He explained about their previous spacefaring era, the threat of the Ravagers, and the desperate plan to hide their true capabilities. As the story unfolded, Xenra and her crew watched the range of emotions play across the humans' faces: shock, disbelief, anger, and finally, a grim determination. "So," Admiral Chen said when her father finished, turning back to the alien captain, "you found one of our old ships. What did you do with it?" Xenra hesitated for a moment before answering. "We moved it to a safe location in the outer reaches of your solar system. We were unsure of how to proceed without interfering with your natural development." Admiral Chen's eyes flashed. "That ship is the property of Earth. We demand its immediate return." The atmosphere on both bridges grew tense. Xenra could feel her crew shifting nervously behind her. This was a critical moment. Their response could determine the future relationship between their species. "Admiral," Xenra said carefully, "we understand your position, but please understand ours. We found a ship of immense power and technological advancement, with a warning about a terrible threat. We had to be cautious." James Chen placed a hand on his daughter's shoulder. "Sarah, they're right to be cautious. If the Ravagers are still out there, all the more reason we need that ship, Dad," Sarah argued. "It's part of our heritage, our defense." Xenra made a quick decision. Admiral Chen, we are willing to return the Horizon to you. But first, I propose a full exchange of information between our peoples. Let us help you prepare for what might be out there. For a long moment, Admiral Chen was silent, considering the offer. Finally, she nodded. Agreed, Captain Xenra. But know this, Earth is ready to reclaim its place among the stars. We won't hide in fear any longer. As the two ships prepared to dock for their historic meeting, Senra couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. The humans had proven themselves to be full of surprises. She wondered what other secrets they might uncover together, and what challenges they might face in the vast, unknown reaches of space. The grand meeting hall of the United Earth Space Command Headquarters was buzzing with excitement. Humans and Sarlaxians mingled, their conversations a mix of curious questions and enthusiastic explanations. At the center of it all stood Captain Xenra and Admiral Sarah Chen, the unlikely pair who had brought these two species together. I never thought I'd see the day, James Chen said, approaching the two leaders. His eyes sparkled with a mix of pride and wonder. Humans and aliens working side by side. It's like something out of the old sci-fi stories I used to read. Sarah smiled at her father. Life's full of surprises, Dad. Speaking of which, how's the integration of the old Horizons technology coming along? Before James could answer, a young human scientist rushed up to them, her face flushed with excitement. Admiral, Captain, you need to see this. She held up a tablet, displaying complex schematics. We've managed to decrypt more of the Horizons database. The things we're finding. It's incredible. Xenra leaned in, her four eyes widening as she scanned the information. This is far beyond even our current level of technology, she said, her crest changing colors rapidly in astonishment. It seems our ancestors were even more advanced than we thought. Sarah mused. But why hide all of this? Surely this level of technology could have defended Earth against any threat. James shook his head. Not against the Ravagers, Sarah. You have to understand, they weren't just technologically superior. They had abilities we couldn't comprehend. That's why we chose to hide and forget. We needed time to evolve, to become something more than we were. As if on cue, alarms began blaring throughout the complex. Red lights flashed, and a voice came over the intercom. Unknown objects detected entering the solar system. All personnel to battle stations. The room erupted into controlled chaos as both humans and Sarlaxians rushed to their posts. In the command center, holographic displays showed a swarm of strange, organic-looking ships approaching Earth at impossible speeds. It's them, James whispered, his face pale. The Ravagers. They found us. Sarah's jaw set in determination. Well, they're about to find out we're not the same humans they chased into hiding. Captain Xenra, will your people stand with us? Xenra's crest turned a deep, resolute blue. Admiral, the Tarlaxians did not come all this way to abandon our new allies. We stand with Earth. As the combined fleet of Earth and Tarlaxia prepared for battle, something unexpected happened. The Horizon, the ancient ship that had started this all, began to power up. Its systems, dormant for centuries, hummed to life. What's happening? Sarah demanded, watching the readouts in disbelief. James stepped forward, his eyes fixed on the ship. It's responding to the threat. Our ancestors, they must have programmed it as a last line of defense. The Horizon rose from its docking bay, its hull shimmering with energy. As it approached the Ravager fleet, it began to change. Parts shifted, rearranged, grew. In moments, the ship had transformed into something entirely new. A massive, gleaming construct that dwarfed even the largest Ravager vessel. By the stars, Tenra breathed. It's not just a ship. It's the key to unlocking humanity's true potential. The transformed Horizon unleashed a wave of energy that washed over the Earth fleet. In its wake, the human ships began to change, upgrading in real time to match the advanced technology. What followed was a battle unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. The combined forces of humanity and the Tarlaxians, empowered by the legacy of Earth's forgotten past, stood against the Ravager threat. Hours later, as the last Ravager ship fled the solar system, cheers erupted throughout the command center. Humans and Sarlaxians embraced, united in their victory. Sarah turned to Hixenra, a weary but triumphant smile on her face. "Well, Captain, it seems the galaxy just got a lot more interesting. What do you say we go explore it together?" Zenra's crest shimmered with excitement. "Admiral Chen, I believe this is the beginning of a beautiful alliance." As they looked out at the stars, now filled with possibility rather than threat, both leaders knew that a new chapter in galactic history had begun. Humanity had reclaimed its place among the stars, and with their new Sarlaxian allies by their side, the future was brighter than ever. The aliens who once thought humans were primitive had discovered not just a lost starship, but a resilient, innovative, and surprising species ready to reshape the cosmos. The greatest adventure was just beginning.